We begin the news in West Africa, where gunmen who kidnapped the pupils and teachers of the Apostolic School in Ekiti, southwest Nigeria, have contacted their parents and demanded a 10 million naira ransom for each of them. The school bus conveying the pupils and teachers, including the driver, was seized at about 5 p.m. on Monday at Ekiti in Emure area of the state. According to investigations, 6 of the pupils, 3 teachers and the bus driver were kidnapped and taken to the forest. It was gathered that the kidnappers contacted the parents and relatives of the victims on Tuesday, asking for 10 million naira each on the 10 victims as ransom to release them. The incident happened the same day a gunman shot dead 2 traditional rulers in Nokiako axis of Ikole local government area of the state. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has condemned the killings of 2 Ekiti traditional rulers, the Onimojo of Imojo Ekiti, Oba Olatunde Samuel Olushola, and Elesun of Esun Ekiti, Oba David Babatunde Ogunshola. The president also bemoaned the kidnapping of pupils and teachers around the Ekporo Ekiti area of the state as he directed security agencies to rescue the victims immediately. This was disclosed in a statement issued on Tuesday by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngelale. According to the statement, the president condoled with the families and subjects of the traditional rulers, Governor Biodun Oyebanji, and the people of Ekiti State on the development. Now, he also directed the immediate rescue of pupils and teachers kidnapped around the Ekporo Ekiti area of the state. Still on Ekiti kidnap, a mild drama ensued during plenary at the House of Representatives as the spokesperson of the House wept over the murder of 2 traditional rulers by kidnappers in his constituency. This was as the House resumed plenary after a 4-week holiday, discussing extensively about the escalating insecurity situation in the country and the need for the president to make tough decisions to end the menace. Idong Joseph reports.
Commencing activities for the second half of the legislative year, lawmakers expressed concerns over insecurity, high rates of inflation, and increased hardship being faced by citizens. Some of them expressed worry over the continuous abductions by kidnappers, bandits, and terrorist groups in the country.
Very emotional from this.
A drama shortly ensued as a spokesperson of the House, in describing the gruesome murder of 2 traditional rulers in his community, could not hold back his tears.
Mojo in Oye local government and Esun in the Ikole local government and the entire state have been thrown into mourning on account of the loss of our highly revered traditional rulers who were forces for community development, peace and stability in the constituency and the entire state.
The continuous attack by terrorists in Mongu local government area and Bokos local government in area of Plateau State need to be addressed immediately.
The Speaker of the House, in his remarks, urged the Parliament to work with relevant bodies to help tackle the hardship being faced by Nigerians and the killings of innocent citizens. He urged President Bola Tinubu not to shy from making tough decisions that will bring an end to insecurity.
Indeed, the time has come for the President to demand greater performance and accountability from our service chiefs and all security and enforcement agencies. I implore the President not to shy away from making the tough decisions. If necessary, we must not hesitate to enact changes within our security apparatus for the cause of inaction.
Lawmakers from some of the troubled areas also called for more deployment of security personnel to serve as a deterrent to criminals in their areas.
The House to urge the Chief of Defense Staff to establish a civilian joint task force in Plateau State.
The House also directs the Inspector General of Police, the Commandant General of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, and other security agencies to deploy more men to Ekiti North 1 and ensure that those who carried out those acts are fished out and brought to justice.
Though the House commended Nigerian troops for their efforts, it however calls for a review of strategies to turn the tide against terrorism. Lawmakers also proposed a National Legislative Security Summit, where experts will have an opportunity to brainstorm and recommend adequate legislation that will crush insecurity once and for all. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
Now, in the meantime, the Senate has invited the service chiefs in the country for an interaction concerning the rising spate of insecurity in the country. After a closed-door meeting that lasted for over 3 hours, the Senate expressed condemnation for the increasing incidents of kidnappings, banditry, and brutal murder of innocent citizens by criminals. Senate leader Michael Bamidele Okpeyemi disclosed that the motion on insecurity had been sponsored by all 109 senators due to its critical importance. In his remarks, Senate President Godswill Akpabio lamented the continuous occurrences of banditry and kidnappings, highlighting the concerning development of intermediaries getting involved in ransom collection on behalf of kidnappers. He strongly denounced the recent attacks by bandits in Plateau and the gas explosion in Ibadan, the capital of Oyo State. Now, to further discuss this development in Ekiti and other security issues in the country, I'm joined by the immediate past chairman of the National Union of Journalists, Ekiti State Council, Rotimi Ojomoela. Hello, good morning, sir. Thank you so much for joining me. Rotimi, can you hear me? I will get back to him when we reconnect later. Hello, can you hear me, Rotimi? All right, moving away from that, now let's also tell you that Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has reimposed the 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew on Ilobu and Ifon communities following renewed hostilities involving the towns. The governor announced the decision in a statement signed by the State Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Kolakbo Alimi, obtained in Oshogbo on Tuesday. Militias from Ilobu and Ifon communities had resumed fighting in villages at the border of Osun and Oyo states on Monday. Police had confirmed the deaths of 2 persons in the crisis, while property was also said to have been destroyed. Now, before the latest crisis, Adeleke had in October last year imposed a dusk-to-dawn curfew on the 2 communities due to bloody clashes involving them. To more security matters, the growing threat of improvised explosive devices in Borno State may become history very soon. New theater commander for the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hatinkai, Major General Waidi Shaibu, pledged to address the issue strategically. Major General Waidi made the pledge during the handing over ceremony held at the Maimalari Cantonment in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. News Central's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
Resettlement efforts in Nigeria's northeastern region in recent times has been progressing with Lomane, Ajiri, among other communities fully resettled. IEDs have become a core tactic employed by insurgents, particularly in the northeast region. These homemade deadly devices have resulted in numerous casualties among military personnel, innocent civilians, and even humanitarian aid workers. Major General Shaibu's appointment comes at a critical time when decisive action is needed to neutralize this threat and restore safety to the region. Major General Shaibu outlined his strategy to address the IED threat comprehensively.
Coming to the theater is an opportunity to serve, and my role basically is to galvanize the officers and men to ensure that we get the mandates of Operation Hatinkai. So we will just go ahead with the mandate, their ongoing operations. We'll enhance it and ensure that officers and men do what they are supposed to do.
He stressed the importance of intelligence gathering, collaboration with local communities, and the deployment of advanced technology to detect and neutralize hidden IEDs.
Give similar support to the new commander in order to achieve more successes by clearing the remnants of the terrorists for sustainable peace in the Northeast region. I equally thank other security agencies for the important role they played in bringing their unique competencies on board in the planning and conduct of our operations. I therefore reiterate the need for us to continue operating in a professional manner in accordance with our rules of engagement at all times. Is that clear?
Yes, sir!
The cooperation of all stakeholders, including the military, security agencies, and the local population will be critical in achieving this collective objective. In Borno State for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
All right, we've been able to reconnect with the immediate past chairman of the National Union of Journalists, Ekiti State Council, Rotimi Ojomoyela, and he's here to discuss the insecurity issue in Ekiti and also in Nigeria. Good morning, Rotimi. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
All right, now let's talk about, what's happening in Ekiti State for starts. Now, talking about the killing of traditional rulers by kidnappers, which is said to be a desecration of the land. And also, the fact that, these kidnappers kill people indiscriminately. What do you think must be done to tackle these kidnappings and also killings within caste communities in Nigeria?
I think a lot of things have to be done. You understand that when you're looking at security, you need to involve a lot of indices in it. For example, when you're talking about security, you're not thinking about those people that are domiciled in the state. You bring somebody from Sokoto to be commissioner of police who does not know the nook and crannies of Ekiti State, and you bring somebody from a degree to be DPO in a local police station that he does not even know anything about it. And also, we are talking about the governor of the state that sees himself as the chief security officer, but does not command anything. The command structure, the command and control structure is not in his hand. So you continue to have this kind of situation. So that's it. So unless the federal government is ready to accede to the call for state police, we are going nowhere. We are going nowhere. Or in the alternative, the police could be localized. You understand? Commissioner for police in Ekiti State could be from Ekiti State. Why the DPO could be from that locality? So that should be the way to go, not what we are having now. You understand? People that understand the terrain, and also the involvement of the local hunters is very important. It's very, 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 very important here. Because the local hunters understand the tracks from here to Lagos, from Ekiti. They know the tracks from Lagos to Ekiti.
All right, Rotimi, you're actually saying that the security structure needs to be localized, so
Exactly.
it can be effective. Now, but that's why there's actually been a clamor for state police. Do you think that should still be, in the works?
Of course. And we have a president that is a federalist. So there should be true federalism in whatever he does, in his policies. You understand? And the security architecture should be removed from the exclusive list. And let it be on the concurrent list so that each state will design its architecture that fits itself. You understand? Rather than just allowing everybody to just drive from the central to the states. You see, this is 21st century. We have to wake up to the reality. These people are the bandits are on us. The terrorists are here. So we should find a way to ensure that these people are exterminated so that we can live a good life.
All right.
You understand?
Now,
let us localize the police. Let us have a state police.
All right. Now, even though some would actually say that the reason why you have people from different regions, being DPOs in another totally different region is just to avoid sentiments. But let's talk about, the killing of these monarchs right now. It's quite ironic that the monarchs were just returning from a security meeting. Now, in towns and villages, protection of lives and property is not as quick and accessible as one would desire. What do you think can be done to improve the security in these vulnerable places?
Well, first of all, let me put this in proper perspective. This is not the first time monarch will be attacked by bandits. Neither the first time monarch will be killed in this circle, especially not in the Kidsi, but in Ondo State. Nobody in Ondo State here. The Olufa was killed, I think, about 2 years back or something like that. While he was returning from state capital to his territory. So in the Kidsi State, monarch will attack too, even before now. You understand? So this is not the first time monarch will be attacked. Even there was a time monarch was even killed. The attack of Ayede was killed by kidnappers along the Lassa Road. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, please continue. Go ahead.
Yeah. So unfortunately, what happened is unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate.
All right.
Very, very unfortunate.
Now, it's not just the monarchs that were killed. Students were actually kidnapped as well, and the kidnappers are actually demanding for 10 million naira on each of the students' head. That's if you roughly a total of 100 million naira. Now, a lot of people have likened this particular incident to the Chibok girls incident. Now, how can we keep our students and our schools safe from the hands of these terrorists and kidnappers?
I think the individual has to draw their own security architecture and look at their peculiarities. For example, like the students, the schools now, perhaps there's a way they could do fencing as well as there's a way they could allow police to have a post in every school. At least if it is 1 or 2 police that are well armed, to be in the security agents that are well armed, to be in schools. But at the same time, you know that security cannot be following every Nigerian all over the place now. So that's the part. So the issue is that we have to ensure that all the hands of government, all the security agencies that are responsible, should be encouraged and should be empowered to do their job thoroughly. For example, we used to have forest guard. Forest guard should also be empowered, should be encouraged, not forest guard that are living in the cities. It shouldn't be like that. Forest guard should be staying in the forest and protecting and securing the forest. You understand? They should work in tandem, hand in hand with the police. You understand? And the local security too should now in Ekiti, I think we have the Amotek. Amotek should be empowered and transform it into state police. So that's my
okay. So, but Amotekun themselves, they seem to be limited, in their operations of securing, that particular area. So, are you saying that if they're empowered, they'll be able to do more?
Of course, they'll be able to do more. We've seen signs that they'll be able to do more if they are empowered. You cannot confront someone that's holding an AK-47 with a gun or with cutlass. Is it possible? So that's it. So if they are empowered, they are giving me equal weapon. I'm sure, weapons, they are deterrent. So if they are giving equal weapons, they'll be able to deter whoever it is that want to commit any crime or anyone with criminal tendency. You understand? So without anything, they can't even protect themselves. How much want to protect the people they say they want to protect? You see, there's limitation to whatever they are carrying now. It has a lot of limitations. So that's the fact. So unless we have this state police and also we liberalize security system, allow even the local government to have their own constabularies. You understand? So people that know the terrain, people that know the area where they live. You understand? People that will be able to see something and say something. You understand? But what kind of structure that we have on ground now, it can't work. It can't work. With the reality that we are facing now in this country, with social architecture that we have now, it can't work. The army is overstretched. It cannot be in every hamlet now. I mean, they are there to protect the integrity of this nation, the national boundaries, and not the internal something. It's meant for the police. And the police, they are under equipped, and their numbers are not enough. And the hospitals that we have, majority of them are securing the lives of the honorables. So that's it.
Quite a touchy conversation indeed. Well, but thank you so much, Rotimi, for joining me and giving your take on this particular situation. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, the federal government has inaugurated the 37-man tripartite committee on national minimum wage. The committee is to recommend a new national minimum wage for the country. Now, Vice President Kashim Shettima, who inaugurated the committee at the council chamber of the presidential villa in Abuja, charged to them to ensure the timely submission of their recommendations. The committee, chaired by the former head of civil service of the Federation, Goni Bukar Aji, is made up of members of the organized labor, the private sector, and the federal and state governments. Shettima said the decision to set up the committee is a recognition of the need to ensure a decent living wage and in compliance with the existing National Minimum Wage Act of 2019. Now, to further discuss this, I'm joined by labor activist Adeola Shoeton. Hello, Adeola. Thank you so much for joining me on the news.
Yeah, good morning. It's my pleasure to be here.
Good morning. Now, do you think the establishment of a tripartite committee on minimum wage will reflect the government's commitment, especially to addressing labor issues and also promoting social justice in Nigeria?
Well, it has always been a routine thing, and from the past experience with committees over committees from previous government and even to this government, when the strike was called off, we should not give that committee 100% confidence of achieving what is desirable and what the labor demands our minimum wage. And I think this is where the labor should know that the demand and the struggle for minimum wage, minimum living wage, is not a tea and bread affair. It's an ideological issue. It's a strong ideological issue, a class issue, wherein the labor should put in their best hands, put in all necessary struggle to get the best and the most convenient minimum wage that can take care of an average worker in Nigeria. Because as we're talking now, minimum wage of 30,000 can only buy 21 loaves of bread at 1,400 naira. And what that means is that 21 loaves of bread cannot even buy 30 loaves of bread. So if what the worker with minimum 30,000 naira is using this money to buy, to feed the family, is bread, he can only buy 21 loaves of bread. And of course, he can only buy 41 liters of petrol, which means that the minimum wage as at now is meaningless. Is anti-labor, in fact, anti-humanity.
All right. Well, Adeola, but just to support what you've said, when you actually said that, not to give this particular committee 100% confidence, some have actually said, taking a look at history, that it's been one issue after the other, and they've actually said that there's likely to be more challenges than opportunity, especially in negotiating the minimum wage policies. Now, taking a look at the 37 members from, federal government, state government, private sector, the organized labor, would you say that every concerned sector that should be represented is actually represented in this tripartite committee? Hello, Adeola, can you hear me? Hello, Adeola, can you hear me? If you can hear me. All right. Okay. Adeola, did you get the question I asked earlier?
No, I didn't. The thing is, I didn't get it.
Okay. All right. Well, what I was actually saying is, a lot of people seem to think that, taking a look at history, there's likely to be more challenges than opportunities in negotiating the minimum wage policies. And I was actually asking you to take a look at the 37 members from the federal, state government, private sector, and even the organized labor. Do you think, or would you say that every concerned sector is represented in this tripartite committee?
Well, if I got you right, you're talking of composition of the committee.
Yes.
The first thing I know, and I want to push, if it has not been done, is that government cannot pick and should not pick delegates for labor unions themselves to pick who their representatives should be, like Hasu used to do, because I hope that has been complied with. If not, it's just a dance in the market that cannot make any impact. Well, about government representatives, we know who and who they are going to put there. Of course, pro-government interest representatives that will always tell us that there is no money, whereas there are a lot of money that being mismanaged. You could see a lot of extravagant life, 160 million SUV cars and what have you. And now people.
So are you saying that this committee might not effectively address the concerns of, the minimum wage? They might not be able to do that. Is that what you're saying?
The concern of labor. Talking of concern of labor, no, the concern of labor is straightforward. They want a living wage that can take them home and that can feed them, pay the rent, send their pupils to school. And of course, you agree with me that based on the economy now, perhaps we're talking in terms of millions as a minimum wage list of.
All right, so we seem to be having serious connection issues, but thank you so much, Adeola Shoyetan, for joining me on the news to talk about this. Moving away from that, the Network Against Corruption and Trafficking Initiative in Nigeria has called for the probe of a former governor of Cross River State over allegations of graft and wide-scale mismanagement of the state's resources while he held sway as governor. The network urged Nigeria's Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to investigate the former governor, saying there exists a plethora of evidence against him, proving he has several cases to answer. Marvelous Obomanu reports.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission's recent move to revisit the corruption cases of former governors has received commendation from Nigeria's anti-corruption community. Though some groups have expressed disappointment that the move to investigate the past governors is not all-encompassing, they say some of them have been left out. One group in Abuja, the Network Against Corruption and Trafficking Initiative, says that despite furnishing the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission with undisputable evidence of wide-scale corruption perpetrated by a former governor of Cross River State, nothing has been done.
We have provided the entire Cross River State account details and how monies were approved by Ben Ayade recklessly and diverted. In the case of our private and detailed investigation, we highlighted the gray areas for the FCC to focus on. We therefore wonder why Ayade has not been invited, investigated, nor prosecuted.
We have leaders who feel they have arrived, who feel they don't owe it to Nigerian people to account for their stewardship. I want to tell Nigerians that whatever power these people wield, it is a power legitimized by Nigerians. Every Nigerian go to vote these people, and we are duty bound. We owe it on ourselves to ask our leaders to account for whatever that is entrusted in their care.
They called on the agency to beam its searchlight on the administration of the governor, saying there is a need to recover funds mismanaged in the interest of citizens in the state.
Who received a payoff of 2.6 billion on 12th of June 2015 from Cross River State Recurrent Expedition Bank account in First Bank. who received a payoff of 1.4 billion from the same account on June 8, 2015, who received the 200 million naira disbursed from account Cross River State Government Consolidated account with First Bank on the 16th of August 2017, and many more questions that are yet to be answered.
Look at the amount of money in billions mentioned here. This can go a long way to solving the needs of the people that elected them into power.
They also tasked the Commission to make an example of those found culpable to discourage others from towing the same path.
Today we see EFCC going after Yahoo boys, quite commendable. But there are other Yahoo people in elected positions, and these young ones are watching them. When we see all this thing, hear about all this money, and nothing is done about it, it is what fires these young ones to delve into what they do to eke out their own living.
With some high-profile Nigerians visiting the Commission's headquarters in the last 3 weeks, the network says it is hoping that the investigations are thorough and far-reaching. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Obomanu.
Thank you, Marvelous. Now, in the meantime, Nigeria moved 5 places up to rank 145 out of 180 countries assessed in the 2023 Corruption Perception Index released in Abuja. The index released by the global anti-corruption watchdog Transparency International also say Nigeria gained 1 point from 23 to 24 out of 100 points in the Corruption Perception Index results. Amading Uyi has the report.
With a promise to fight corruption, President Bola Tinubu has not been shy to rattle the big players in Nigeria's political space. The questioning of a former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, the sack of the Chief Executive Officer of Nigeria's National Social Investment Program Agency, including the suspension of the current Minister of Humanitarian Affairs over corruption allegations, it seems the current government is determined to match its words with action. Thus, the release of the 2023 Corruption Perception Index reports by international transparency watchdog is one event that many has looked up to. The country director of Transparency International in Nigeria maintains that the organization is not partisan and has no interest in politics. Thus, its reports should be taken more seriously.
We are not politicians. We are not opposition, people. We are interested in seeing our country progress because corruption has done incredible damage to our reputation, to our country. The level of insecurity we see is associated with also the corruption.
Though the report indicates that Nigeria has improved slightly, several stakeholders think it is not yet time to rejoice, as there is still much more to be done to improve the public perception of corruption in the country.
Public office holders in Nigeria have failed to show empathy or concern for citizens' plight. Rather, we have seen wasteful appropriation and approval of billions of naira for luxury items.
The Nigerian judiciary was expected to display independence and dispatch justice transparently, as well as in equity and fairness. However, different conflicting rulings by the different courts have questioned the independence and integrity of the judiciary as an institution.
Some of them highlight recommendations to improve citizens' perception to the war against corruption.
We are recommending that the independence of the Nigerian justice system needs to be strengthened to shield it from interference. Merit-based promotion and appointment should be carried out rather than political appointment. This will help win back the trust of the citizens in the judiciary.
It is important that government take necessary steps to block leakages, to ensure that people that are given trust in leadership did not abuse office.
The greatest antidote to anti-corruption is openness and transparency. and numerous public institutions in Nigeria are yet to fully comply with the Freedom of Information Act, the Open Government Partnership, the Transparency and Integrity Index, and other international commitments Nigeria has signed on to.
Nigeria moved 5 places up to the rank of 145 out of 180 countries assessed. It also gained 1 point added to its previous 24 out of the 100 maximum points in the 2023 CPI results. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
Thank you for staying. Now the news continues in West Africa, where Niger's junta has expelled 15 members of the European Union's Capacity Building Mission, UCAP. According to the country's Interior Minister, Brigadier General Mohamed Tumba, the individuals had returned to Niamey on various flights on 24th January without informing the government. He confirmed they were ejected from Niger days later on 26th January. Niger has been ruled by a junta since July, when officers seized power from democratically elected President Mohamed Bazoum. Soon after, the EU announced measures to impose sanctions on the junta leaders. According to Niger, the UCAP mission, comprising 120 security officers helping to bolster Niger's forces, were terminated in December after more than a decade of working together. Meanwhile, reactions have begun to trail the announced exit of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger Republic from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The 3 countries, which are currently under military rule, said they revoked their membership as the regional body had allegedly moved away from the ideals of its founding fathers and Pan-Africanism. News Central's Niyi Omoni completes the story.
Hundreds of people take to the streets of Niamey to celebrate the announcement made by the military regimes in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger on their immediate withdrawal from the West African bloc, ECOWAS.
Nous sommes libérés de cette CEDEAO-là. Au diable leurs sanctions. Et on considère que dorénavant, il y aura des accords bilatéraux avec les autres États. Donc c'est fini avec cette structure satanique qui veut étouffer le peuple nigérien ou bien le peuple du Sahel parce qu'ils ont décidé de quitter l'impérialisme français.
The military leaders accuse ECOWAS of colluding with major powers to destabilize their countries. They also blame ECOWAS for imposing sanctions that are undermining the lives of their populations.
Some things are happening behind the scenes. We know Russia is on a charm offensive in West Africa. Just a few days ago, Russia announced the donation of 25,000 tons of wheat to Burkina Faso, and I'm sure similar stuff might be going on with other countries. I mean, France is exited, Russia is penetrating the region. So we don't know whether Russia coming in might be of help or help these countries to resolve the economic and security challenges that they face. But I doubt, because many of these challenges are a lot deeper than just saying it is because of France.
The sanctions imposed by ECOWAS on Niger since the military takeover in July 2023 have greatly impacted traders and customers. Essential food items only arrive through military-escorted convoys that take several weeks to cross the country.
Gaskiya kasuwanci wanga da ka gane shi malam, kamar kasuwanci shi kaya wanga bododin nan ne da suke rufe. Boda wanga in aka bude ta, in kaya suka dan shigo, kaya suna da rage, mai kuma kwana bi sai su hau. Yanzu kaga example kamar wanga mai daga Alshe ake kasu, yanzu mai in ya dan shigo kwana bi sai ya sabka, in kuma kwana bi ba su nan ga shigowa sai su tsara.
In response, Nigeria has isolated itself by saying it remains open to engage with Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. For now, ECOWAS said it remains committed to finding a negotiated solution to the political impasse. In Lagos for News Central, Niyi Omoni.
Morocco has fallen down the global corruption rankings of Transparency International, labeling graft a threat to the stability of the country. The North African Kingdom ranks 97th worldwide in Transparency's 2023 report on perceived levels of public sector corruption across 180 countries, dropping 3 places from 2022 and 24 places in 5 years. The report comes amid multiple corruption scandals in the country, including the arrest in December of 2 prominent members of the Authenticity and Modernity Party. Transparency Maroc, the NGO's Moroccan branch, called on the kingdom's executive to implement an anti-corruption legal corpus, in particular laws prohibiting conflict of interest and illicit enrichment.
Le Maroc, en 2023, a un score de 38 sur 100, qui est un niveau très très bas, relativement bas, qui nous classe dans la catégorie des pays qui souffrent de la corruption systémique, si vous voulez, qui touche tous les secteurs, etc. Nous avions la même note l'année dernière, alors que nous avions déjà une note de 43 sur 100 en 2018. Donc il y a une régression assez importante. Par rapport à 2018, nous étions classés, je crois, 73 sur 180 pays, et actuellement nous sommes 97e, donc il y a une perte de 24 positions. Et à chaque fois, nous disons, il y a un problème.
In other news from around the world, former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi have been sentenced to 14 years in prison a day after he was jailed for 10 years. Khan, who was ousted as Prime Minister by his opponents in 2022, is already serving a 3-year jail term after being convicted of corruption. On Tuesday, he was sentenced for leaking state secrets, and on Wednesday, given another 14 years for a graft case. Khan has said the numerous cases against him are politically motivated. These latest convictions come just a week ahead of Pakistan's national elections on 8th February, a vote where he is barred from standing. Britain and France will step up efforts to halt crossings of the English Channel by migrants in small boats. This was revealed by Britain's Interior Minister on Tuesday after figures showed over 1,000 people had made the crossing so far this month. British Home Secretary James Cleverly held talks in Paris, and French Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin, with both sides hailing how increased cooperation led to a 36% reduction in crossings last year. But latest figures from the UK Home Office have shown over 1,000 people crossed so far in January from France to England, with 276 making the journey this last Sunday alone.
With Interior Minister Darmanin and with the French authorities more generally. It's in our interest in the UK, but also, of course, it's in France's interest. Because just as we don't want people arriving in our borders, at our borders illegally, we want to help France police its borders.
Now, in the world of sports, Nigeria Super Eagles are set to face reigning world champions Argentina in an international friendly match in March 2024, although there is no official confirmation from the Nigeria Football Federation yet. The match is expected to take place at the Olympic Sports Center in Hangzhou, China. Now, this encounter marks the 4th friendly meeting between the Eagles and Argentina. In their last friendly in November 2017, the Eagles staged a comeback, overcoming a 2-0 deficit to win 4-2. Argentina, however, secured revenge during the 2018 World Cup group stage match, winning 2-1. Across 9 encounters, Argentina holds 6 wins, Nigeria has 2, and 1 match concluded in a draw. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our top stories. We told you that abductors have demanded 10 million naira each for kidnapped Ekiti pupils' tutors. We also told you that Niger's military junta has expelled 15 European Union mission staff. And finally, you heard that Morocco has slided down to 97th in global corruption rankings. Send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Dashen Usman.